In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your AC condenser on this Dodge Grand Caravan. Just so you know that for this job, you will have to have your AC refrigerant professionally evacuated from the system. You don't want to open any lines with pressure in the system. Ours has been drained, so let's get started. On each side, where the fender liner meets the bumper cover, you'll see several fasteners. There are 2 Phillips head screws here and a 10mm up there. Let's take them all out. 10mm socket. Remove this bolt. If you turn your wheels in the opposite direction of the side you're working on, you should be able to fit a screwdriver here. If not, you'll just have to use a ratchet with a bit driver. Take that out. And looking further down, there is one more. Take this out as well. Follow the fender liner in, and at the bottom you'll see that it has a plastic retainer. I'm just going to use a trim tool, try to pop these two apart. There we go. And of course, do the same to the other side. Underneath along here, you should have several push clips. Mine are all missing. They are broken, so for now, there's nothing I can do to remove them because, well, they're already missing. Along the top, you'll have 2 10mm bolts and 2 push clips on the grill side right here. So 10mm socket, remove this bolt. There's one on the other side headlight, and then the push clips, you can just use a trim tool, pop out the center and the rest of the push clip. One more over here. Now you should be able to pop both sides out, pull sideways, and with that done, pull the bumper away. On the driver's side of the AC condenser, you have these 2 lines that go in. We'll have to pop the caps off and slide them back. Once you do that, this will expose 2 clips. This line looks like it's, well, both of them actually, they're already moving. That's good. Sometimes they get rusty in here or corroded and they seize up. We'll have to pop these 2 little clips off with a pick is usually the best way to do it. Keep in mind, fluid will leak when we pull these out, so make sure you have a collection bucket to catch it. Stick your pick underneath, pry these up. All right, set those aside. Now you should be able to grab the lines from the back side here and wiggle them, pull them straight out. This vehicle has been sitting for quite a while now, so that's why there isn't any fluid in these lines, but, oh, there was some here. Going across the front, you have these 2 reinforcement pieces here. They have 10mm bolts on top. I'm going to take one off at a time, and 13mm on the bottom. Okay, take this piece out. Let's do the same to the passenger side. Follow the lines that go from the AC condenser back into the engine compartment, and you'll see this fitting right here, this coupling with 2 13mm mounting nuts on it. We'll have to take both of those mounting nuts off. Now you should be able to separate these 2. The hissing you're going to hear is not pressure. Don't be alarmed, it's a vacuum that was pulled when the refrigerant was drained from the system. There's also a 10mm bolt going into this bracket right through the radiator, so we'll have to remove this also. On both sides of the AC condenser, you'll have these tabs that hold on the condenser. Pinch the 2 ears and pull the condenser away. Do this on the other side as well. That should lean forward now. And now it's just a matter of maneuvering it so it can basically get out of here. Pull up and forward, just like that. You have to get the lines on the passenger side to clear. There we go. There's your AC condenser. Now on the old AC condenser, we'll have to remove this J-nut, that's what this is called, which holds the bolt for this bracket for the AC lines. You can usually get it with either a pick or a pocket screwdriver. It has that little hook in there that needs to release so that we can actually slide it out. Sometimes these are a little trickier to get to. There we go. Just do that. Slide it out at the same time. All right, there we go. We can now install it on the new one. Now, take this, put it right on this new one. Give it a couple taps. It's going to be a lot easier to take these bolts and the caps off now. The only downside is we're going to have to be really careful not to get debris in here, but there really isn't too much for these lines to go through or this entire bracket, so I'm not too worried about it. 13mm socket, get these two bolts out. That pressure inside is normal. It's for shipping purposes. And now in place of those two bolts, we're going to install these studs. Okay, when you thread them in, make sure the Phillips head cutout is towards the outside so you can actually tighten them. The other side will not have that. Grab a screwdriver and snug them up. They don't need to be very tight. These are actually going to be tightened once the nut goes on the other side to clamp the line on. It's going to squish and pull on both ends of these studs, so it's basically going to tighten both ends of it. Take your new AC condenser, slide it down and into position. It has some hooks at the bottom that it needs to line up with. They won't line up just yet, and this is basically a multi-part action. It has to go down, in, and sideways at the same time to line everything up. On each side of the AC condenser, it'll have these hooks right here. You want to make sure that it's actually clipped in. It won't lock, but it will slide in all the way down. Now let's line these up. Tap this in. With both of those clips lined up, let's put these lines in. Pop off the caps. To pop them off easily, you can just twist them. And then these lines should slide in very easily. There we go, make sure they click. That's how you know they're locked in. Slide these caps over. This will lock in the retaining clip so it doesn't accidentally pop out for whatever reason. Okay, there we go. That one's locked in as well. If these lines aren't fully seated, you will not be able to put these caps on. They need to be able to slide on all the way. And you should not see any of the beveled part of the line. That's what locks in tight, so make sure that it's seated all the way. Otherwise, under pressure, these will pop out. These are transmission cooler lines. I did not lose much fluid at all, a few drops maybe, so I'm gonna leave the fluid alone. If you had more fluid coming out, you could just plug the lines, and that would avoid having to check the transmission fluid and top it off. Now let's reconnect these lines here. I'm gonna start by putting on the bolt for the mounting bracket. Snug it up. Now slide these lines over, replace the O-rings. I always recommend replacing these O-rings when you're doing this job because they're usually pretty old and, well, due for a new set. I'm going to start the mounting nuts on, and let's tighten these up as well. When you tighten these, you want to make sure the line is already bottomed out and just make them nice and snug. You don't need to go crazy with tightening these. All you want to do is squish that O-ring so it seals up nicely. Now let's reinstall these brackets. Line up the bolts top and bottom. Once they start in, hold this in place and snug it up. And do the same to the other side. Now grab your bumper cover, slide it over. Make sure you don't scratch up the fenders or the headlights. Try to get it to seat in place, just like that. Once you do that, you can let go. So that the bumper somewhat stays on, I'm going to install the 2 push clips at the top as well as the screws. 10mm bolt right over here. Make sure that's snug and do the same to the other side right next to the other headlight. On each side, the bumper needs to clip onto this bracket, and it has 2 sets of hooks, one on the top and one on the bottom. You want to make sure it goes right in between those and then tap it on. That should make it clip on and pretty much secure itself. Reinstall the 2 screws that hold the bumper and the fender liner together. There we go, just make them snug. And of course, put in the other one. And the one right in the corner here. And now, resecure the fender liner onto the lower valence panel. There we go. Just get that push clip slid through. And if you had any of these push clips, go ahead and reinstall them. And there you have it, job is done. At this point, get the AC system professionally refilled with the exact amount of refrigerant that it needs to run properly.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.